Coming up on show 766, Volkswagen are planning a range of affordable EVs. They'll cost under $22,000 if you stick around. I'll tell you more. Plus, the Polestar 2 gets an EPA range rating. Should Tesla ardent fans be worried? Also, the McLaren Speedtail is revealing its electrified secrets. The Karma company are showcasing their platform for van applications, and why Ford and Rivian are indeed getting closer, not further apart. That's despite the Lincoln news earlier this week. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're listening around the world, in fact. Welcome to EV News Daily. Hello, my name is Martyn Lee. This is what happened on Saturday, the 2nd of May. I go through every EV story so you don't have to, and I appreciate you letting me drop a few shows in one batch because I've had them written but haven't got a chance to make them because of family things over the last week or so. Okay, let's kick off with news about the Polestar 2. Earlier this week, I told you about the Polestar 2 pricing in the US, and customer delivery should be starting this summer. But what about the range? Well, we haven't got an official EPA range figure just yet because, well, they either haven't got their hands on it and driven it themselves, or they haven't asked Polestar for the data, which it turns out, as I didn't realise, is how many of those EPA range ratings are done. It turns out they haven't got the capacity to test every single new car. So it's the car manufacturers that supply the EPA range ratings and all the calculations of how they worked it out, of course. And they do drive cars, it goes without saying. However, Polestar 2 haven't got their official range yet, but they are aiming for an EPA target and confident of getting there, which is 275 miles. That is, well, 442 kilometres. And on the WLTP test cycle, which is always a little bit more generous, more lenient, 292 miles. So between 275 and 292 miles of range. Not official, but like I say, that would be coming from a 78 kilowatt hour battery pack, something that they are confident they can get, but also it'd be a big achievement as well, wouldn't it? And apart from Tesla, it would make them the longest range EV on sale in many markets as well. So yeah, Tesla haven't exactly been toppled as the range kings. Of course, we're talking about 400 miles from a Model S with the latest version of that. So there's a way to go before they are toppled in terms of range. Polestar did have this to say though: when fully charged, the Polestar 2 has a target range of 500 kilometers or 275 miles on the US EPA test. However, like the conventional forms of transport, achieving this depends on many factors. Climate inside and outside the vehicle makes a difference. Heating and cooling requiring power, traffic, terrain, road conditions, even the type of tyres fitted also play a part. And there is your own driving style as well. However you do that will affect the kind of range you get from a car, not just EVs. But of course with EVs, because you literally see that range figure on the dashboard, it does live front and centre of your mind a little bit more, doesn't it? That's really, really good, isn't it? 324 pouch cells inside the Polestar 2, 27 modules, fully liquid-cooled, 78 kilowatt-hour battery. I think it's a really good sweet spot, big enough to deliver a lot of current when you need it. So it can dump a ton of power into the motor and get 0 to 60 done in 4.7 seconds. Again, not toppling Tesla, who tend to try and direct the conversation whenever they can to range and 0 to 60. And fair play to Tesla, they tend to direct the conversation and everyone goes with it. So people define EVs these days by how quickly they go 0 to 60 and how far they can go in range. And that is entirely Tesla directing the conversation, by the way. There are many other things that make a great car. You wouldn't think that if you listen to many EV conversations, would you? However, range, yep, Tesla still kings. 0 to 60, yep, not being troubled by that. But in overall car, the Polestar 2 is a really fantastic car. 150 kilowatt fast charging capacity on DC fast charging as well, and whether you love the inside will depend on whether you like the inside of a conventional car. Really, it's none of your minimalism here. It is kind of Swedish minimalism, as in it's very, very stylish. It's I hate to say it, because I hate nailing my colours to the mast too often because somebody will throw it in my face, but at the moment, it's probably top of my shopping list, I would say. Not even having driven the damn thing. Beautiful car. Lovely car. In China, by the way, car gets a 72 kilowatt hour battery. Again, range, less of a thing in China. It just doesn't direct the conversation as much. So we're looking forward to seeing what the official EPA numbers are when they do finally come out. Good luck to everyone at Polestar. Okay, moving on now. There are plenty of EVs at the very top of the price bracket. You know what I'm talking about. Those big sedans, SUVs, even trucks coming as well. But what about at the other end of the market? Well, VW believes there is an opening at the lower end of the market, for want of a better phrase, and that's our lead story today on the podcast. Volkswagen believes that mostly in Europe and Asia, there is a market, a mass market, in fact, for small EVs that will sell brand new for less than $22,000. Automotive News out with a report this week that says VW with their MEB platform, which is what the ID3, well, all of the Volkswagen Group EV cars are mostly built on, apart from the high-performance ones like the Porsche and the Audi e-tron GT. The majority of the cars in the Volkswagen Group built on this platform, which is called MEB. Well, there'll be a highly modified version of that. What they're going to do is shorten it, and they're going to do that by about 13 feet. Then they believe that they can come to market below $20,000, or certainly below $22,000 for a brand new EV. Automotive News Europe says adapting the architecture for small city cars in a cost-efficient way is proving to be a challenge because of the need to strip out a third of the costs compared to an ID3. Well, engineers have looked at everything from smaller electric motors to different battery module configurations to give the small EVs the high standard of crash protection expected by customers. Of course, there are small EVs on the market at the moment. There is the VW Up. There is the little trio of cars that are basically the same as that. The Skoda Citigo IV. What's the third one as well? My mind has gone blank. There are smaller cars as well that you can get with smaller battery packs, and there are small form factor cars as well. You know, the new Honda E is a smaller car, but it's not a cheap car. The BMW i3 is a smaller car, but it's not a cheap car. Very luxurious though. And there are smaller cars in Europe, like the new Renault Zoe with a 52 kilowatt hour battery. Of course, there is the Corsa Vauxhall / Opel Corsa E. There's the Peugeot E208 and more as well. But again, none of those cars are really hitting a very low price point that VW believes they can do with a range of affordable electric cars under £22,000. When will they hit the market? Well, that's the question. And what will they be? Could it be an ID1? VW do like to brand everything ID these days that is electric. So maybe you're looking at a battery pack of maybe 24, 28, maybe 30 kilowatt hours, depending on how much battery they can squeeze into that shortened platform. Entry-level buyers as well, more worried about price than range, I would say. As long as it can charge at a half-decent speed, a low-priced EV is absolutely something we've been crying out for a very long time. Good luck, VW. Okay, let's move on to the very other end of the price spectrum. And if you have to ask the price, you know what they say, you can't afford it. McLaren Speedtail is a car we haven't talked about on this podcast before. Don't think so anyway. Following their announcement that the Speedtail, the fastest McLaren supercar ever, has now finished their high-speed validation tests, and that means doing more than 30 runs at 250 miles an hour. They're now answering the question of how they've managed to get the McLaren Speedtail to go so fast, and the answer is, you got there before me. The answer is always electric motors, although in this case they do need a petrol engine in the McLaren as well. Not quite ready for full electric yet. The acceleration on the Speedtail from standstill 0 to 186. We don't give that figure very often, do we? The 0 to 186 figure is 13 seconds. 1-3. and a top speed of 250 miles an hour. So how do they do it? Well, there's a 4-litre fossil gobbling engine in there somewhere, but the electric bits are actually more exciting. They use Formula E technology and a 230 kilowatt electric motor, which means that by the time you've included all the cooling and the integration, the heating and all the electric stuff as well, that it has twice the efficiency of an equivalent average supercar. I know that there are no average supercars out there, but they've managed to get this incredible efficiency and incredible performance and speed, all thanks to adding in lots of lovely electric technology. I just wish that they would do more as well. McLaren could do so much more, but they have said that certainly on the roadmap for a very long time, they have no intentions of making a full electric car, but they have every intention of using electric motors and batteries as much as they can to eke out the last bit of performance from fossil technology, and they're doing a pretty good job at it, if you ask me. Changing gear again, and from supercars to delivery vans. Karma Automotive have announced their eFlex van platform, and it's all about ensuring that our parcels are delivered in the most efficient way possible. Not with a pure EV though this time. Karma are going with an extended range architecture, what they call the EREV, Extended Range Electric Vehicle. Now I would call it a REX, a range extender, but they call it the EREV. Maybe EREV, I don't know. The new platform is one of 5 demonstration projects designed to illustrate Karma's technical direction and capabilities through their EREV system. New van platform means that you can have a range of up to 200 miles and a combined range as well of up to 400 miles, depending on configurations and the application you want for the vehicle as well. They say that the extended range, because of the onboard generator, means you can adhere to clean air zones for city driving, quieter transport for passengers as well. Of course, this would be fantastic for things like minibuses and moving people around, even shuttle buses, and delivering parcels as well in the van variant of this. What do you think? Do you think these kind of extended range, these generators where you do have to put petrol in them, however, it works as a generator, it's more efficient than churning up through the gears and down through the gears all the time. It can operate in its most efficient power band to charge the battery, and then you drive on electric power. Is that a good way forward? You know what, as long as the cars, the vans in this case, have plug sockets on, well, that's fine. And that's one thing I couldn't find in the article today, whether the new Karma eFlex platform does indeed have a plug socket on. They talk lots about, as all car companies are these days, about driver assist systems and heading towards autonomous technology and all those things. But just tell me, can I plug the van in? Even if it's a range extender, I still want to be able to plug it in. But good luck to everyone at Karma who is doing that with vans. Okay, let's get virtual next. How do you fancy driving a Tesla Model 3? Well, actually you and a bunch of other drivers all driving Model 3s around a legendary racetrack. The only catch is this is virtual. Well, the Model 3 Performance is undoubtedly a great car to hit the tracks with, but at the minute, with the stay-at-home orders, chances are you're not going to many racetracks, in fact, going to none. And lucky if you can go out of the house for an hour a day here at the moment to go do some exercise or do your shopping. However, some people are getting their fix of driving fast virtually. Sasha Annis of Mountain Pass Performance has been driving Model 3s very quickly for a very long time. An avid racer, and he also set a record lap at Laguna Seca, actually using a modified Tesla Model 3 Performance. Did that about a year ago, almost a year ago now, and he was able to lap Laguna Seca faster than any other EV in history. Now, what do you do when you want your fix of speed but can't leave the house? Well, he and his team have created a racing simulator, but recreated all of the attributes of Tesla Model 3s using the data that he gathered from all of those runs in a real Model 3 round the real racetrack. So, it gives the simulator a degree of realism, and you can go racing if you want with you and a bunch of your friends or people you've never met, but race online, and everyone's driving Tesla Model 3s. Owners and enthusiasts have been racing together in the first few days of this hitting the internet, and by the looks of it, it's going down really well as well. I'll pop a link in the show notes to Teslarati if you want to find out more about what this is like, but What do you think? Do you think virtual racing can ever take the place of real racing? Is it a proper substitute? Does it just attract a different type of person who wouldn't want to drive a car in real life that quickly, but is happy, maybe less risk, and actually they're just more comfortable doing it virtually as well? Are the skills transferable? And do you get the same buzz out of it? What do you do about things like heart rate and stress levels and smell and all those things that you get when you are in a real life race, in a real car, with a helmet on, and there's very real risk there. The adrenaline is pumping. Do you think any of those things do translate over to virtual racing, or is it just a bit of fun? Let me know about any of your thoughts on any of the stories on the podcast anytime. My email address is hello@evnewsdaily.com. Final story today then, and we told you recently about how Rivian and Lincoln were splitting up. That's right, Ford's Lincoln brand was going to be building EVs on the Rivian platform, but now they're not. And I think that not my story, certainly, I was very careful to say that, but then I saw coverage where, of course, people talk about Ford, they talk about Lincoln, they talk about Rivian, and splitting up. And I think some people thought that Ford, an investor in Rivian, maybe not as keen anymore on that. Well, look, of course, I tried to make the point on the podcast. They absolutely are. And now today, a new story that just goes to prove that Ford and Rivian are indeed very close. Alexandra Ford English. Well, Ford's Director of Corporate Strategy, she is going to be joining Rivian's board of directors, they announced yesterday. Ford has invested more than $500 million in Rivian, and they got no plans on backing away anytime soon. Even if Lincoln, their first all-electric SUV, isn't going to be built on the Rivian platform, doesn't mean that those complications are going to ripple through the rest of the Ford company. Ford very much still in bed with Rivian and planning on building cars on Rivian's platform, or maybe pickups, I don't know. And certainly as a big investor, looking at some of that technology they've got as well. Okay, this week's question of the week on Sunday's show, talking about the cars that you have driven in your lifetime, that you've owned or maybe still own, that you'd love to convert to EVs. I will read them out. You can email me anytime, hello@evnewsdaily.com, or leave a comment in the YouTube show. Can't thank you enough. Thank you so much to every patron of this podcast, everybody that keeps the show going. Incredible, isn't it? My premium partners are Phil Roberts of Electric Future, Brad Crosby, Avid Technology, Brightsmith Group, for clean tech talent, Porsche of the Village in Cincinnati, and Audi of Cincinnati East. If you want to get any of the previous shows in the archive, there are 765 of them. If you can leave a review on Apple Podcasts, it really helps. And if you want to say hi on socials, search EV News Daily. You'll find me. Have a wonderful day. I'll catch you tomorrow. And remember, there is no such thing as a self-charging hybrid.